Wanted to mention the fact that we went to a constituents meeting last night, and luckily Ivan and John Newmuller were there to tape the meeting, so keep an eye out on Saturdays from 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:30, whatever it's going to be. It was a very interesting meeting. We were there trying to convince the fact that, or convince the council to ask the mayor to put the meetings on the government channel. And they had been kind enough to come up with a figure that is certainly reasonable. For $5,000, you could run tapes from City Hall on the government channel so they could be presented unedited. And the name that is on the screen at the moment is the president of the council, Joe Cavo. It's his telephone number and his email, and we're going to leave it up for a little while because he said he's never heard from anyone that they wanted except me. And as far as he was concerned, they were not going to do it just for me, and I understand that. It shouldn't be just for me, but it got to be a pretty feisty little meeting, so you may want to tune it in and watch. During the conversation, when he was basically telling me that I'm the only one that has asked in the last 6 years to put these meetings on TV, and they need to be quality meetings, which they are.
Wait a minute. Joe said that?
Yes, Joe said that. I am the only one.
I asked the mayor in an interview not 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you a loaded and, quite honestly, a self-serving question here. There's been a lot of talk, articles, op-eds, and some unpleasant editorials in the newspaper about broadcasting the city meetings on the public government access channel 24. Can we get you on the record as what your position is and what we can expect to see and when?
But anyway, what I thought was absolutely apropos is Mrs. Mitchell, who has been living on Park Place, I believe is the name of it, or Park Avenue, for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I don't know, but she's been there forever. Bless her heart, I love her dearly. She mentioned, when they kept telling me, we're not doing this just for you, you're the only one that answered. She had her little witch's hat on, the good witch from the East Ditch, and she had come in to ask them to consider funding the next phase of the East Ditch to try to help these guys that flood constantly. And when she heard what he was saying to me, that he would not do it just because one person had asked, she looked at him and she said, are you telling me because I'm the only one that has asked for the East Ditch, I'm the only one that's come in, you're not going to do it for me either? And he kind of flustered over that on, oh, how do I answer this? And he said, no, that's important, this isn't. Getting meetings on TV, informing the public is not important as far as he was concerned.
I certainly hope that in your next successive shows, you tell people to call us.
I will.
Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Because the only person we've been hearing from in these years is you. Honestly, is the only person we've been hearing from is you.
Okay.
And that's not a mandate.
Does that mean that I have to forget about the East Ditch?
Maybe we could run the wires between here and Comcast through the same pipe.
I mean, I have been the spokesperson for a new ditch, and because of the flooding, because my family's owned the property for 50 years, and most people buy and sell. And I would hate to think that I've brought in hundreds and hundreds of signatures on petitions and given them to the mayor, and I always keep a copy of the petitions because they always get lost. And I don't know whether maybe it's just we don't know which office to store them in, the council's office or the mayor's office, but they do get lost. And I have copies of all the various petitions from different dates going over 26 years. I would not want to think that you would dismiss the East Ditch because I'm the only person that comes in here routinely and says anything. It floods routinely. If I called all of you each time it floods, floods and asked you to come down and look at the water, you would hate me, and I still wouldn't stand a chance of getting an east ditch.
Because you're only one.
When it's flooding in the middle of the night, I certainly am not going to call anybody and say, we're down here and I'm in my waders and I'm outside with a shovel trying to put this over in Mr. Robinson's woods. That doesn't mean it isn't happening. That doesn't mean it isn't going on. And I really don't want to be dismissed because I'm the only one that cares. Because the other people care every time their basement's wet. And they have some interesting names to call the city process and the city councilmen and the mayors and so on and so forth. So you're lucky I come in because I really mostly remain polite.
I think there's a huge difference between televising council meetings and the flooding that's been going on from East Ditch over these years. And
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm dismissing the council committee on the cable televising because it's only one person. But what I'm saying is that before we agree to spend taxpayers' dollars on something that we would consider a luxury versus a necessity, I'm listening to one voice here saying that it's the person that I heard from, not dismissing you as one person on East.
Because I just came in, Mr. Cabo, and there was a big new television screen down there with the mayor doing a PR job.
Cost $5,000.
And that's probably cost money, you know. I mean, I don't know how much, but I mean, if television is important to be inside of the building, then why can't we televise things from this building to other places?
We mentioned the fact that it was not just me, that a petition of 200 signatures had been submitted. Mr. Cavo said he has never seen them.
I heard there was a petition that was sent out, and I just wanted to find out if that petition was handed towards Joe Cavo or not, and how many people were on that list.
There were about 200 signatures of Danbury residents on the list asking for the Common Council meetings, the ad hoc committee meetings, all to be broadcast. And it's what we call open government. People need to see the decision makers at work and to listen to the debate, because otherwise, you know, I'll stand there and say, well, Mary Teitschel, Chief Baker said we couldn't enforce it, and she says, oh yes, the chief said we could. And if the public can actually watch these deliberations, they can hear for themselves what is said, they can make their own decisions. It is critical to get that done. So Mr. Cavo is stonewalling. The committee hasn't met. He has the petition signatures, and he needs to get on the stick.
When the application for the ad hoc request was made, there was a petition that went along with it. I think it had over 200 names that was on that petition. So I would think that will be, instead of calling, I think that will be, should be.
I've never seen that petition.
Oh, okay.
It was turned into the mayor's office. Yeah, I never saw it.
Okay, we will get you a copy of that.
Even for that, Mrs. Waller, 200 signatures out of 78,000 people is not a real clear mandate that people want this. Okay, so
But
even the News Times,
$5,000
even the News
is not
Times,
that horrible
even the News
for
Times,
200 people.
Even the News Times poll came back a flat zero.
Well, they did a poll?
They did a poll, and it came back a flat zero. For the numbers for versus the numbers against and the numbers who didn't care, it came out almost flat even. In fact, I think the numbers of people who didn't care or no just slightly beat out the number of people that said yes in the
But
poll.
when
Okay, so
But
even the News Times,
$5,000
even the News
is
Times,
not that horrible
even the News
for
Times,
200 people.
even the News Times poll came back a flat zero.
Well, they did a poll?
They did a poll, and it came back a flat zero. For the numbers for versus the numbers against and the numbers who didn't care, it came out almost flat even. In fact, I think the numbers of people who didn't care or no just slightly beat out the number of people that said yes in the
But
poll.
when
When he said he wouldn't do it just for me, I got upset enough that I mentioned the fact to him. I said, oh, he was going to do a survey because people didn't care. And I said, what do you mean a survey? Did you do a survey when you did the landscaping in front of City Hall for $120,000? I didn't get a survey, did you?
Don't recall one, no.
Okay.
No.
So I don't really think you need a survey to spend $5,000. You ought to be able to find that out of pocket change, to be honest. Speaking of broadcasting, this is a roundabout way to it, but honey, this drove me crazy. Danbury lot may go to the dogs, it says. And basically it's talking about Mayor Mark Boughton's dogs, Buddy and Augie, I guess it is, are itching for a place to run without their leashes. And the pugs may get a chance if their owner unleashes a plan for the place man's best friend can run free. They, I think, call it a bark park in Ridgefield. Well, the thing that upset me was the cost of the project is estimated between $25,000 and $30,000, which includes an obstacle course and a beach for the dog owners. Benches, excuse me, for the dog owners. About half of the money would come from donations, and the remaining amount would come from the park's budget. Excuse me, I want to be on TV. We don't have enough money to put the council meetings, the commissions, planning, zoning, EIC, any of those things on the air because we don't have enough money. But we can put dogs. Are we now the underdogs? The citizens of Danbury are now the underdogs? We can't even get on the air?
Maybe instead of public access television, you change the name, you know, Underdog TV or something like that. But, I think something's going to happen on that. But when I see these kinds of things, yeah, I kind of go back and says, okay, value to the city of
That
Danbury.
comes out of the park
A place
budget.
for the dogs to run, or
Watch meetings
more
on TV.
public service, or more public crossing.
Who are you servicing?
Yeah, I don't vote for the dogs on that one.